We have breaking news out of the New York Jets as the team has just made a very sneaky signing in a guy who is a direct pick for this New York Jets revamped defense for Aaron Glenn and co. And we are going to break all this down, discuss the signing and more. So guys, we got a lot to talk about. What's up? Welcome back to Jets Digest. It's Chris and Matt here. And we're going to jump right into things as always. Make sure to subscribe if you're part of that 74%. This is the place to be for all Jets moves. Every signing they make, we are going to make a video on it. You thought we were done today? Absolutely not. This is video number 5 for the channel, and we are not done cooking just yet because the New York Jets, they have made another move as they have signed Andre Cisco to a 1-year deal. This is a safety for the team. The Jets desperately needed to do something about safeties. And it's interesting because they also gave that qualifying offer to Tony Adams. So it does make for some questions to be answered. On top of that, Andre Cisco himself quote tweeted the NFL's announcement on the Jets signing him, saying 5th grade me would be running through a wall right now. I'm ecstatic for what's about to come. So, Andre Cisco, really hyped to be joining the New York Jets. He's a New Yorker. The Jets picking up a New York guy. And, Matt, there is something interesting about this outside of the fact that the Jets made the signing for a guy who's happy. This mirrors the quote of what Aaron Glenn said at the press conference. If you want to be a New York Jet, you're going to be here. This is a guy who wanted to be a New York Jet in Andre Cisco. They brought in a guy who they thought, hey, this guy wants to be here. He wants to play here. He's a cheap option at safety. This makes sense for us right now. It's an interesting pickup, to say the least. There's not a lot of name value to Andre Cisco as I just take the world's biggest exhale. Cisco, 4-year player for the Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the second 4-year guy that they've signed as a defensive back today alone. Those are 2 of Darren Mougey's 3 signings today. The other one obviously being Justin Fields. Cisco has started 3 of those entire seasons. The only one he didn't was when he was playing a defensive back, kind of different role with the Jaguars than what he moved into being a pure safety later on in his career for the next 3 seasons. But since he moved to being a pure safety, they have, well, he started every game. So this is a guy who's going to start at safety for the Jets, certainly at strong safety. Matt, interesting signing to say the least.
Yep. So, I mean, he grew up on Long Island. Valley Stream, went to St. Anthony's High School on Long Island. And I guess if 5th grade him would be running around in excitement, he must have grown up a Jets fan. And you're absolutely right. Aaron Glenn, Darren Mougey, they went out, got another guy who wants to be a part of the team, which they are, like you said, they are building all the way in on the culture thing, because if you're looking at the way these players are grading out, like, they're not the highest graded out players. But let's talk about what Andre Cisco brings to the table. He's going to be a box safety for Stephen Wilkes' defense. We talk about his exotic blitzes, and when you want to bring extra defensive backs into the box, a lot of the time you're going to be rotating into a single high safety. So we are going to be sending our free safety out to be the single high safety, and then bringing down our strong safety, who is going to be Andre Cisco, into the box to make more plays. Think about, he's kind of like a Jamal Adams, but he hits harder and he's not as athletic. Although Andre Cisco does make a lot of hits that you're going to be like, oh, but it's going to be like, it's not going to be like, oh, that was a really big hit. You're going to be like, oh, are they going to throw a flag on that? No. Oh, okay. All right. And then you clap it up because, if the refs don't throw a penalty, it's a legal hit. He gets a lot of personal fouls, like a lot of late hits, high hits. So keep an eye out for that. Obviously not a good thing. Interesting. His Pro Football Focus grades actually line up with what we saw from the cornerback signing earlier, and in the way that his run defense grades out higher than his coverage graded out. If you look at the way Pro Football Focus has him graded, they graded 170 safeties this season, and his coverage grade was ranked 110 out of 70, but his run D grade was higher at 63.7, which was 97th of 170 safeties. So a little bit better at run defense than coverage, which is, just like what we saw from the other signing today. Also, he's going to be down in the box more, which makes him obviously closer to the line of scrimmage. When running backs get to the second level, he's going to be there to make tackles. Looks like Aaron Glenn is putting together a defense of hard hitters, guys that are going to obviously make big hits, but also a lot of, like, we know there are some defensive backs on the New York Jets who don't tackle or don't hit, and that's looking like it's going to change because we know the cornerback from earlier is also a blanket on the Ravens corner's name right now. We know he can tackle, and we know Andre Cisco is also going to lay the boom whenever he is given a chance. So I'm excited to see the way this new defensive backs and this whole new Stephen Wilkes defense works out.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the Jets go about things for sure. I mean, Cisco's deal being 1 year, $10 million. So this is what? Per year, we're seeing $23 million per year already for the Jets defensive backs. So clearly this was a focus. This was definitely a position that the front office wanted to focus on, as now what we are looking at are two guys. And I mean, something interesting about Cisco as well is that he did play once in the playoffs. So they are taking guys who have playoff experience as well. So Cisco, in that one playoff game he played, he actually did play well. He had 8 combined tackles, 7 of them being solo. He played in 2 games in the playoffs. I really forgot the Jacksonville won that game. I thought they lost.
I was going to say, Chargers and then Chiefs. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they lost to the Chargers. I forgot because that was...
They should have. I went back in history. I looked for times when a team got 5-0'd in turnover differential, went -5 down, and only like 2-16, 2-14, the Chicago Bears it's happened 3 times since 1955. It's impossible to happen. I don't know how a playoff team let that up, but that's not about the Jets, so keep going.
Yeah, and I mean, as you mentioned, these are run-protecting guys, both Andre Cisco and Brandon Stephens, so it is interesting to see how the Jets are going to move forwards. Clearly, this is for Steve Wilkes' defense, but on top of all that, this now is another move made by the New York Jets that is part of Darren Mougey's first day as a GM in free agency. Now, obviously, we were talking about this a little bit before the video started, specifically and pertains to Jamie and Sherwood, the first move that Mougey made with free agents. But today was Darren Mougey's first day as a GM for open free agency to sign other players. Justin Fields, Brandon Stephens, and Andre Cisco are the 3 signings. 2 things scream out to me right now. One, the 3 guys they signed, it feels like this Jets team, first of all, yes, there's a culture and there's clearly a system of the Jets are going to run the ball a lot on offense just based off what they have right now between Justin Fields, Breece Hall, and Braylon Allen. I understand the Tanner Engstrand scheme isn't always going to be pound the rock, but right now we're going to see the Jets certainly use 2 different running backs, considering we saw that in Detroit. And now, on top of that, a running quarterback. We're going to see the Jets run the ball a lot this year. We're also going to see them really try to defend the run a lot this year, which is interesting. And with this
that didn't happen at all last season, so They better be able to defend the run.
So it's clearly them trying to cover up some of the issues from last season that the Jets clearly need to fix. But on top of this, it's definitely feeling like this island of broken toys, which is, and they're all young guys. One of them has played 4 years. Justin Fields is on his 4th year in the NFL.
He's going into his 5th
Going into his 5th, though. Yeah. So this is, all 3 signings were guys who played 4 years and didn't get extended by their teams. So they're all younger guys, all around 24 years old, 24, 25 years old. So it's a bunch of guys who didn't get extended by the teams that drafted them. This is what teams do before they tank. So either Darren Mougey just wants to sign any young player he can, or he's trying to get bargains on guys who are not getting extended by their teams and hoping that a change of scenery could work, while also not being afraid to build a team that's going to be ready to lose a lot of games last year and hopefully build a culture at the same time. That's what it looks like to me.
I mean, no, the goal is definitely to build a culture, but so someone said it in the comments of one of I think the Sherwood video when I was saying this is the exact type of player they want to build your team around, or I'm sorry, the exact type of person they want to build your team around, switching from safety to linebacker, just like the coaches asked, and then coming back from a torn Achilles. But then that person in the comments, he asked, but at a certain point you need players, not just people. Like the people don't actually win football games if they're not good enough at football. And, for that video, I responded in the comments. I was like, Jamie and Sherwood, he's a good person. I think he's a good player too. Like, they're in the NFL in tackles. I think he's a good player too. But the grades are a little bit concerning on all 3 signings today. But I mean, they aren't super long term. The longest term one was only a 3-year deal for Brandon Stevens for the Baltimore Ravens. Andre Cisco, wouldn't consider him a bargain, but we got the market value for what is a pretty solid safety in my eyes, and he's only here for 1 year, so not going to be tied to anything. And sorry to break it to anyone who thought we are not going to be competing for a Super Bowl this season. So just having him on for 1 year isn't going to, it's not going to actually hurt our competitive window or anything. And Justin Fields, Brandon Stevens, and Cisco are all going to be guys that are going to help us build the culture in the locker room while the Jets go ahead and search for that long-term answer at quarterback. Like we say, we've been pretty vocal that we want the New York Jets to get a shot at a top quarterback in the 2026 NFL draft, because we believe that since out of the AFC, since 2012 when the Baltimore Ravens went to the Super Bowl with Joe Flacco,
and Tyrod Taylor,
the quarterbacks out of the AFC, was Tyrod Taylor the backup?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, one. Since 2012, the AFC quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Joe Burrow. You got to have an elite quarterback to come out of the AFC to go to the Super Bowl. And we believe that elite quarterback will be coming from the top of the first round of the NFL draft. And we believe we have identified multiple quarterbacks who could be elite in next year's draft. So that's why we want the New York Jets to put themselves in a position to draft one of those elite quarterbacks. Maybe they don't have to, go 1-15 or 1-16, whatever the math is. I'm not doing it right now. And go get the first pick in the draft, but at least put them in a range where they can trade up to go get that quarterback. But these guys, like, you can look at Justin Fields and the players in the locker room will think we have a chance to win with that guy. When, we know the history says you're not going to win with Justin Fields, but maybe you do win with Justin Fields and he turns out he is the guy, he threads the needle and turns out to actually be the guy. So what they're doing does give us a chance for the future, but I still believe that it's still like a disguised tank. It is what we talked about before, where the New York Jets they can build the culture where they're not actually trying to lose, but they're gonna, mistakenly lose a lot of games. And then they're going to come out next season, draft the actual quarterback of the future, or, Justin Fields, something crazy happens with him and he actually ends up being the guy. Where if Justin Fields has a good year this season, you don't let him play next year with $20 million. You need to buy goodwill with him, and you'd have to re-sign him after this year and get him for more money, and hopefully get him for an under, what we just saw, that Trevor Lawrence is at, like $50 to $60 million range. We want to get him under that so we could sign him earlier. So, these moves, like you said, they're a little bit concerning because we don't think the players are the best and the prices are a little bit high, but we're gonna roll with Mougey here and see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, definitely an interesting first day for them, and I truly, wow, this is great TV, watching me just say words really long. But just drag out.
Wait, didn't you mean to say? I think you meant to say that we didn't overpay too much for these cornerbacks, because if you look at the contracts that all the cornerbacks who signed today signed, we got Carlson Davis, $20 million per year. That's a bunch.
This is
the
exactly
Vikings,
where I was going.
Exactly, I know. I could read your mind.
Yes.
The Vikings re-signed their guy to, I think it was like $22 or $23 million per year. We saw DJ Reed signed for only 16 with the Lions, but that's what happens when you're a contender. People will take the price cut to go to you. And then we saw, was it Charvarius Ward is the name of the 49ers free agent corner? I believe so. He signed for also $20 million. So these corners, with the salary cap being increased a couple weeks ago, that doesn't actually give the Jets more money to sign more players, because the players see that and the contracts all expand at pretty much the same rate. And the salary cap, we don't actually get more flexibility by it going up. So the numbers, yes, they're higher than they are in the past, but when you consider the salary cap increasing, they're not that much more expensive. It's not as bad as it looks. So I just want to encourage people to give Brandon Stevens a chance. We record our first thoughts on these players before, watching other videos, before reading what the public thinks, because we want to actually formulate our own opinions and bounce them off each other to see where we agree and disagree. So we don't listen to other opinions first. And after we recorded that video, I learned that Ravens fans are rejoicing that Brandon Stevens is gone, and Jets fans hate the fact that we paid him $12 million. But I would just ask Jets fans, give the guy a chance. If he sucks game one, then you hop on top of him. But
Whoa.
for now, just give him a chance.
No, I agree. It's pointless to instantly go against the signing. I can't speak, dude. I just at the 8-minute mark, I fell apart.
Dude, I had to take a look at the clock. I was like, is it that late right now?
Nah, I'm falling asleep, man. It's 10:51 Eastern time. It's all these videos, man. It's number 8 on the day. But that's not the point, guys. What matters is the New York Jets. They've made a bunch of signings today. There's 3 down, already 2 defensive backs. Both of them expected to be starters. One at cornerback, 2. The other one at safety. I mean, maybe Tony Adams plays free safety next year.
Oh no, Tony Adams. Yeah, no. That if Tony Adams is back, he's playing free safety.
Yeah, like obviously, I highly doubt Woody Johnson wants him back, but well, we know how that is.
Woody Johnson might actually be taking a step back. Who knows?
Hopefully he does.
I'll believe it. I'll believe it when I see it, though.
Dude, imagine he takes a step back and the Jets somehow get worse. That is.
Imagine he takes a step back and he like falls off of something high, like a high ledge, like a ledge.
He actually couldn't take a singular step back. He was on.
He's like, boys. I hear you, but I can't take a step back.
I'll fall, guys. I can't. But guys, I mean, hopefully these Jet signings work out. Obviously, an interesting first day. It does feel like a sneaky tank, which I'm fine with. These guys are definitely personalities who they brought in. It's why they chose them, and also they do see something there, obviously. But we'll see how all that goes. The Jets are far from done, and we'll be reporting on every single move they make. So make sure to subscribe so you guys can get a ton of Jets content. Guys, if you subscribe to our channel, you're going to be able to just have the most football knowledge on the Jets and all your friend groups. So when they start saying stuff, dude, just repeat what we say. And by we, I mean just repeat what Matt says. That's usually what I do on videos anyway. Guys, have a great day and go Jets.